I want to frame my remarks by raising some questions regarding the upcoming January 21st Women's March, especially in D.C. and in New York City. The first question is, how did this march come about? Well, based on a number of sources that we've been able to get, the same night that Trump was elected, a retired attorney in Hawaii, her name is Teresa Schock, started a Facebook page event calling for a women's march. It was originally called the Million Women's March, but that got changed because of, the fact that there was already a Million Women's March back in 1997. In fact, this is the 20th anniversary that was called by black women in Philadelphia. So out of respect for that anniversary, it was changed to Women's March eventually. So now it's the Women's March. But this woman, Teresa Schock, started this Facebook page, and it spread like wildfire, calling for a demonstration against Trump on January 21st. And then other local Facebook pages started. It spread like wildfire. And really, literally every state is having some type of women's march on January 21st. And some of the states are having multiple, women's marches, which I'll get to in a minute. So really, this started as a grassroots response from one person, and it really has turned into a global event. It's not just national. This is global, which I'll also go into in a few minutes. As I stated in my article in last week's paper, millions of women were shocked, outraged, and dismayed when the extremely misogynistic and racist Donald Trump was selected by the Electoral College. He was selected to succeed Barack Obama as the next U.S. president. Many of those women had voted for Hillary Clinton, who won the popular vote by nearly 3 million more than Trump. So she won the popular vote. So this really shows the undemocratic nature of how a president in the capitalist United States was elected once again on full display. And the Electoral College, when it met a few weeks later, all but dismissed the fact that Trump had lost the popular vote when they met to declare him officially the winner. The reasons why women voted for Clinton varied from those who viewed her as a quote-unquote feminist, that is fighting for the rights for women, to those who wanted to see the first woman become president on the heels of the historic 2008 and 2012 elections of the first black president. It is worth repeating over and over and over again that Clinton is not and never was a feminist. That's right. She is an unapologetic imperialist who was the face of so many imperialist interventions, especially in Honduras and Libya and elsewhere, as Obama's Secretary of State. When she ran for president, she had the financial backing of many of the most powerful institutions on Wall Street. If she were a true feminist, even a moderate one, she would not have gotten this type of support from the ruling class. There were also women who may not have supported Hillary Clinton's program, but were so outraged by the misogynistic treatment that she received from Trump and also the media during the campaign, that as a way of defending her, they felt compelled to vote for her. There were many women who supported Bernie Sanders, who, because of deep anti-Trump resentment, also voted for Clinton as the lesser evil. So I'm raising this because we can debate all night long why, women voted for Clinton. It's not just one thing, but it's many reasons. But one of the most pressing questions now is, what kind of impact will J21 have on women, on the women's movement? Just like J20, we will have to access J21, and what will it mean for pushing the struggle for women's liberation forward? So what do we know now Or what are we hearing about J21? Again, J21 will not only be national in scope, but international in scope. According to the USA Today article, January 6th, which came out January 6th, which was called, very interesting enough, Women's March and, quote, entry point for new activist wave. Very interesting. According to this article, at least 200,000 women are expected to come out on J21 in Washington, D.C. alone, with a goal of trying to attract 100,000 women on J21 in New York City. The count as of today, when I went on the website, in terms of women who are committed to come to J21 is over 76,000 and growing. Over 280 local J21 events are taking place in the United States, as I said, in every state, with a combined participation, again, according to the website, totaling over 600,000. Over 40 J21 protests are taking place in at least 40 countries outside of the United States. I just wanted to read just a few of them, which I was surprised. Australia, Austria, the Bahamas, Belgium, many in Canada, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Ecuador, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iraq, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Kenya, South Korea, Lithuania, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, the Virgin Islands, and elsewhere. So, again, this really shows that this demonstration is really taking on a life of its own. This demonstration illustrates that it's not only Trump as an individual, but it really is Trumpism, that women especially are coming out because they hate and despise everything that Trump stands for, which is misogyny, racism, fascism, and all forms of reaction. Now, what is the role of the Democratic Party in all of, with the J21st demonstrations, especially in D.C. and here? While none of the articles or sites are saying outright that the Democratic Party is playing a leading role, there are indications that they have a lot of political sway based on the goals and the forces involved. There are about 100 endorsers of the demonstration in New York City. They include some forces that have worked with Obama, supported Obama when he was running for president, the Harry Belafonte Foundation, of course, Gloria Steinem, the NAACP, the Sierra Club, etc. And this is their mission. I just wanted to read a little bit from their website. This is their mission, quote unquote, to provide a safe and accepting platform for supporters of equality to rally and march in promotion of civil rights for every human, regardless of gender, race, sexual orientation, ethnicity, disability, region, or creed. Their goals are, quote, empower every human who witnesses or participates in the Women's March in New York City to stand up for their beliefs and their rights, to remind the existing government body that they report to the people and the people expect their civil liberties to be upheld, to demonstrate to the incoming cabinet the speed and ease with which the people can mobilize if policies promoting inequality arise. Bring hope to those who have lost confidence in the United States government by physically showing them that the power lies with the people. And lastly, remind every American that their right to assemble, march, demonstrate, protest, and vote is sacred and only available to citizens of free countries like the United States of America. Not exactly revolutionary or even issue-oriented, to put it mildly. But, I mean, you know, it's what they're trying to do, what they say they're trying to do is be as inclusive as possible. In fact, but putting all this aside, comrades, you know, in terms of, you know, the intervention of the, you know, Democratic Party and other, you know, bourgeois forces, our party and our mass organizations, you know, we want to support this demonstration and work with this demonstration, be it in D.C. or New York City, because of who is coming out to the marches. Not who's calling the marches or who's behind the marches, but who will be out in the streets with these marches. It's going to be very, very important. We understand very well the aim of the Democratic Party is to attempt to stampede women into the Democratic Party and to stampede other oppressed groupings into the Democratic Party, which has always been their history. But the Democratic Party is a party of big business, of war and racism. This Democratic Party will not liberate women from all the oppressions that women face in society, just like the Republican Party won't. The Democratic Party has historically been incapable of fighting for the rights of women when the right wing, especially the Republican Party, you know, takes the offensive in terms of trying to, you know, gut, you know, all of the progressive gains that women have made for many, many decades. The Democratic Party is already thinking about the 2018 midterm elections and, of course, the 2020 national elections, and seeking strategies and tactics of taking back both houses of Congress and eventually the White House. This is what they're mostly concerned about doing, and they want to use as much as they can, to one extent or another, using this demonstration, using the anger and frustration and all of the energy that women are pouring out against this misogynist, racist, as Taryn was saying, monster. You know, they really want to show their, you know, their disdain. They want to have their voices heard. They want to, you know, be in the streets against this, you know, what has happened with this election. And then Sue's going to be talking about all the attacks on reproductive justice. And now, you know, the Republicans are repealing, you know, the Affordable Care Act, which a lot of these, you know, gains are being tied into. So anyway, it's going to be a really big struggle ahead, in the most immediate sense. Many women will be coming out on J21, many for the first time, because they see this as the first step of fighting back and resisting not only Trump, but again, what Trump represents, which he really represents the new face of capitalism, of imperialism. Whether these women are conscious of this or not, this is what they want to come out and fight on. Not just on January 21st, but beyond January 21st. So my last question is really what should be our approach towards January 21st in a practical sense. Again, while we don't have a crystal ball in terms of what's going to unfold on January 21st, either in D.C. or, you know, New York City and elsewhere, but we have to assess all of this. You know, we have to assess what happens in D.C. On the 21st, in New York City and elsewhere around the country, especially where we have branches, to see what are the relationship of forces like, what women come out, you know, what is the, you know, multinational character of the women that come out, and so forth. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be young women, you know, who are coming out into the streets. So based on our limited resources and outreach, you know, we want to, you know, stand with these women as much as possible. In New York City, the International Working Women's Coalition, which we organize every year for the last 10 years around International Women's Day in March, we will be organizing a modest contingent for January 21st. In closing, comrades and friends, there will be plenty of time to access both of these important demonstrations in the coming weeks and months, but I think reaching out to our class in general and to women specifically with a strong, independent, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist, anti-sexist, and anti-LGBTQ bigotry program will help attract a growing number of activists to a revolutionary program and our party. Steeped in broad-based unity and solidarity, we feel this will be very winning for so many women. The Trump election will prove to be a wake-up call for so many, so let's let them know that they can have a permanent home right here in our party. On to J20 and J21st, build a workers' world. Women resist, women fight back. Thank you. In the connection to J21, these demonstrations are being held on J21 in solidarity with what's going on in the United States. That's why I say this is a global event that's happening on J21. Because it's very important. It's very important in terms of what goes on in the United States, because so many, I think a lot of the demonstrations outside of the United States are all about the understanding that what goes on in this country will impact the world. It will impact other countries, and these women want to show solidarity, with what's going on in the belly of the beast, and the fact that women in this country are sort of on the front lines, really on the front lines in terms of fighting, Trumpism. I think it's an inspiration for a lot of women around the world, and also they understand, a lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, a lot of them understand the impact that U.S. imperialism has on their own countries. So what goes on here, it's going to impact over there. So yes, these demonstrations around the world are in solidarity with what's going on here on J21. With our International Working Women's Coalition, we've had a 10-point program for a number of years where it raises reproductive rights, the right to a living wage, with the right to organize, the right to a clean environment, of course the right to health care, especially reproductive justice, to housing, affordable housing, child care, etc. This has been our 10-point program for many years, and this is a program that we want to bring to January 21st. Every issue is a woman's issue. There's not one issue that's not a woman's issue. And including political prisoners. And I wanted to say the sister that John brought up in terms of the 15-year-old Palestinian sister, we want to bring her struggle to March 11th. I think it's very, very important, along with Dr. Siddiqui and all, the Move 9, women, from the Move 9 who've been in prison for 40 years. We want to bring this sister's struggle to the attention of other women. So I wanted to talk to John and Joe about that. Natalie is her name, I believe. But anyway, and other women political prisoners from Palestine as well. So it's very important to educate our class on these very, very important, sisters who are behind the walls, and Rasmia O'Day, of course, Rasmia. I think her picture's around here somewhere. Anyway, this is the program that we want to bring to J21. Because I think it'll excite a lot of the women to see that there is this intersectionality of all of the different struggles, racism, patriarchy, the economic attacks, on reproductive rights, etc. It's all tied into fighting capitalism and imperialism. In terms of J20 and J21, if it was up to us, we would have one united demonstration.
Yeah. Thank you.
We would have one united demonstration, especially J20. This is where Trump is going to be. Trump is going to be, inaugurated, and it's very interesting that, of course, Hillary Clinton is going to be there, and Bill Clinton is going to be there. Wouldn't be surprised if Bernie Sanders was there, may or may not be there. But the main thing is that this demonstration on the 21st, while the J20 demonstration has been such an uphill battle just to get permits, just to get the right to organize, as Taryn pointed out, the right to assemble, the right to free speech, etc. Hardly any permits. I mean, the permits had to be fought for, whatever permits there are. And now they're trying to shut down the whole city because they want capitalist peace. They want capitalist stability. They want this inauguration to go off as peaceful and, with very little fanfare or struggle or rebellion, because I think they're really afraid of the rebellion. They're afraid of rebellions breaking out in the street against Trump.
They should be.
And there should be. There should be rebellions. And that's what they're afraid of. And that's why they're threatening to shut down the whole city. It's just outrageous. And so hopefully there'll be a resistance to this. Whereas for the J21 women's demonstration, they got permits easily. They got permits near the Capitol. And they're going to be gathering, having a march, and so forth. So there is this, this divide that's happening, in terms of J20 and J21. And I really think that the role of the Democratic Party has a lot to do with this. It really does. Again, we have to see what happens. Again, we can only speculate, but rest assured, this is what's happening. So if it was up to us, we would have a united front, on J20, where the women's issue, because women are going to be in the forefront of the struggle. We got to get ready, because I tell you, women, it's going to be quite a period, a tumultuous period of struggle and fight back, and women are going to be in the forefront of it. Especially the younger women who want to fight, who've been on the college campuses fighting against rape culture and so forth, and fighting for reproductive justice, as, Sue pointed out. And this is not the traditional, women's movement that came out of the 70s, which was mainly led by, white bourgeois, petty bourgeois, women who were fighting for a piece of the pie, so to speak, under capitalism. And we were part of that movement, but we were also the left pole of that movement. Yeah. We brought revolutionary, Marxist, politics into the women's movement, while still in solidarity with those women who want to fight. And that holds true today as well. So anyway, again, we have to assess what's going to happen, comrades and friends. It's really important to see what happens on J20 and J21st, so that we can ready ourselves as a party to be in the streets, to be in solidarity with these women and and the rest of our class that wants to fight. So it's a very exciting, period, and we want to get out our, the wonderful, placards and banners and the palm card, and also our paper. Yeah. We have to get out our paper. Yeah. We have 3,000 or 2,000 extra copies of the paper that we want to get out, both on J20 and J21st, with articles about the whistleblowers and, long live the whistleblowers, and, Trump and Russia and the Democrats, and all of the different wonderful articles, that we want to share with these new activists. So let's continue to organize and, get ready, get prepared for this new period.